Welcome back to another episode of the Forced Adulthood Podcast. This is Henry, today's host again, and this is a podcast for young adults, a positive energy podcast, also hosted by young adults for young adults. So if you're looking for ideas on how to better survive young adulthood, this is the podcast for you. So if everyone wants to just introduce themselves quickly again. So
yeah, I'm Mark. We're back with everybody this time.
Yep, I'm Lavere.
And I'm Alan, and I'm down in Utah right now. So we're not all in the same city, but we are all together again. So.
Yeah, awesome. And it's been a little bit since we've recorded, so we're all excited to be back and be doing another episode. So today's topic is a continuation of a previous episode, and it's about dating. So we had an episode a little while back about, first dates and like trying to meet people, especially during, COVID and trying to find new friends and people you can go on dates with. Today's episode is going to be a little bit about how to handle breakups and kind of get through that positively and kind of keep your motivation up for dating when you don't really want to, or when you're just not feeling it or feeling frustrated. So to get us started off, I just had a question. So really, when you're going through a breakup, or when you see one of your good friends going through a breakup, what has been helpful in dealing with that?
I think it was always kind of fun back when we were all rooming together. Anytime that anyone went through a breakup, we'd always just say, "Hey, let's go bowling." And pretty much everyone on the spot would drop what they were doing and go and help out whoever was in need. And so that was always a lot of fun, just kind of see everybody rally together around the one person and just kind of help them get their mind off of it. Because even if you were the one that initiated it, it's always hard when that happens.
I would agree. I think the gym has never said, "I don't love you." The gym will always be there for you, and it's pretty consistent. So I think helping your friends realize, maybe it's not specifically the gym, but helping your friends realize what other ways they can put their energy into has been pretty great. So for me, going through a breakup, like, my goal is just to work out every day and start some hobbies, and like it sparked a lot of positive energy because I like hit that breakup and it sucked. And so I was like, well, time to just do everything I can for everything else. And so helping friends see kind of that same thing would be.
I did that same thing too. Like there was a time when I was just at the gym for about 2 to 3 hours a day a couple of years ago. So yeah, it was
I
a good
definitely
time.
remember that time, Mark.
Mark was getting big.
I think that's a great point of like, finding something else that's not dating that you can get excited about and put that energy into, so you can kind of like, I guess, clear your head. I've definitely seen how helpful that is, a couple times, but that's a great point. Alan, do you have anything?
Yeah, I wanted to go last because it also kind of leads into what your next question is going to be.
Yeah.
But something that I have noticed other people doing for me, especially Lavere, your next question is it helpful to take a break after dating someone and going through a relationship? And Lavere right now is helping me out, making sure that I do not talk to girls that I've previously had crushes on. And for me, that's a little annoying because we were really good friends and all of that. But at the same time, I have noticed how beneficial it was. When I'm not focusing on a girl that doesn't even like me back, I'm able to look at other prospects and be like, okay, yeah, I can go on a date with her. So I think part of the advice that you need for a friend is to just let them know that they have other options. I know it sounds weird, but just making sure, like, when you're going bowling, you're giving them an option of having fun with their friends.
It's always super easy to put all your cards or like all your plays on the one girl. And when that kind of like finally ends or you separate, you feel lost for a little bit because you almost put all of your time and energy into that one thing. And then now you're like, well, I don't even know what to do. Should I just continue being depressed or should I move on somehow? And it's finding that part to move on somehow is a little difficult.
Yeah. So in the world of psychology, there are like these different like ideas that are super invalid that we often tell ourselves, right? So there's a list. They're called cognitive distortions. There are 10 of them. Well, there are more, I'm sure, but there are 10 kind of main ones. But in relationships, there's one that applies almost every single time through breakups, and it's called overgeneralization. So I have a definition here. It says, you see a single event, such as a romantic rejection, as a never-ending pattern of defeat by using words such as always or never when you think about it. A depressed salesman became terribly upset when he noticed bird dung on the windshield of his car. He told himself, just my luck, birds are always crapping on my car, right? So it's similar in rejection, right? So like someone breaks up with you or a relationship doesn't work out, and like often our natural instinct is to say like, I will always be single, or I will never be as happy as I could be with
I always
that person.
get the short stick or whatever.
I always get played, or this always happens to me, or the word always pretty much shows up, especially in romantic rejection. Yeah, like I always do nothing wrong. And it's like it takes it and it hurts, but it takes extra time to think, okay, what's the actual truth here? Like, was this a one-time thing or was this an always thing? Because if it's a one-time thing, then like keep your head up. Like let's go to the gym. Let's, put the headphones on and get big. But like if it's I don't know, just that's been really helpful for me just to think like, oh, it didn't work out. Okay. That was one person. There are billions of people on this earth. Like, let's go. Let's keep.
So I actually struggled with that this summer. If you look back at all of your exes and you think about what is the common denominator between why those relationships didn't work, the only actual common denominator is yourself. And you could take that as a very negative way. You could think, well, all of these relationships didn't work because I'm always the problem, like you were saying, the always. And once I realized that that's just a terrible attitude to have, I was like, why am I even thinking about that? Like, I should be thinking about my future and new relationships that I should start instead of dwelling on old relationships. Maybe they didn't work out because she wasn't ready for a relationship. That's not my problem. Yeah, I was a common denominator, but I can't dwell on things like that. So,
yeah. And it takes time to be sad. Like, and I think we're all kind of assuming that, but I guess just to spell it out, like it sucks. And like, that's not anything you haven't heard, but they suck and take your time. But ultimately at the end of the day, you do need to have a reason to keep pushing forward. You do need to continue that way. And if that takes like weeks or months or years or whatever, like that's fine. But you do have to at some point realize, this is not how life always is, and I can move on.
Yeah, I really liked your point earlier, Levere, about kind of not making a breakup like a permanent thing. Like, that's a a case by case basis, and eventually you'll find someone that you can have a longer relationship, or maybe that can progress further.
Yeah,
I think that.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think that can apply to a lot of areas of your lives. Like if you on the outward, it might look like you failed at something, but you just can't tell yourself like, oh, I'm a failure. So. And
to be completely personal, and I hope this is okay to share, but like Mark went through a breakup for a while, and I mean that sucked, and he was, I would say, messed up, or he was dealing with the repercussions of that breakup for months. And Henry went through the same thing for a significant amount of time, and I am still figuring out those things in my life, right? Just went through a breakup like a while ago, and so I guess my point with that, and Alan's gone through that as well, right? Like we've all been there. And so I guess my point with that is saying, like, we're saying these ideas of how to handle it, but like at the end of the day, if you miss them, or if you feel sad, like you're normal. Like we've all been there, to the point of like months of just like sitting there, like, listening to Juice WRLD, just like working out.
The thing is, when somebody's important to you, it doesn't matter how bad or clean the breakup was, it still is going to hurt to some extent. You can keep telling yourself, no, like it's not going to hurt or whatever, but really deep down, like it does to some extent hurt. And that can take a good time to kind of heal from that, even if you're the one that initiated it, because they were important to you and you might have just found a reason saying, okay, this is why this relationship won't work. So yeah, you just got to take that time to heal, because it's going to be different timing for everyone. Because an important person, when they leave your life, it's always going to sting a little bit.
Because it's a grieving process.
Yeah,
like
it's a grieving
you're
process.
Literally grieving that someone's leaving. So you got to go through all the stages of grief. Like that's always a joke to hear, like, oh, if I can be depressed or this or that. But like, no, like it's genuinely a grieving process. So take your time, give yourself some grace.
So I kind of have a question that I've been thinking about. To a certain extent, what the ideas that we're giving are almost kind of distracting yourself from the main problem, or not the main problem, but kind of what's going on, like going to the gym or going bowling, finding some way to kind of distract yourself. Is there a point when those distractions become unhealthy distractions from the main issue? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I feel like it probably could become that in certain situations. Maybe if you're like, I don't know, kind of like it's been a long amount of time and you're still like deep down, you're just doing that activity or whatever, or having that distraction just so that you're distracted. Like, hopefully after a while you can get over it. And like Livier said, we've all had difficult breakups, and like myself, I've had like a long time where I'd broken up with someone and I was like, really, really torn up about it.
Yeah, you were.
And it worked out though. But no, I think you have to find balance with it, and like you have to face the issue enough to be like, become okay with it and kind of let it go. Because some things, like relationships, part of it is just out of your control. You just have to, two people have to be feeling the same way, and it has to be mutual. And part of that you really just can't control. And so letting that go and kind of just moving on, I think is really important. So yeah, having something to distract you, but if it goes on forever, like you got to start, I don't know, I feel like maybe in that case, you just have to start dating again or something.
So how do you get yourself out of it? Is it more of a responsibility for one of your good friends that knows you the best, or your family, to try and help you understand? Or does that need to come from yourself?
Nope. Absolutely not. It is, your life is your life. And it's on you 100%. Like I have spent so much of my life trying to utilize my friends and my family to help fix my problems, which is awesome that I have friends and family, and they've been so helpful, and I appreciate that. But my life has changed so drastically in the positive direction as I've focused on working through my own issues by myself. And to me, like when you talk, there was one answer that I was like, this is the only thing that's worked for me. and it's meditation. That's been the only thing that I could say is actually beneficial, or maybe not beneficial, but has pretty much cured my issues with that, because I realized, hey, like I'm sitting here by myself and I'm completely content. Like I'm happy in this moment. And I don't know. I think that it's a huge important thing to realize, hey, like going through heartbreak, like your friends can help, but ultimately it's on you. And if that takes months, cool. If that takes days, cool. But like it's on you, and take your time. But eventually you have to figure it out. Otherwise it won't stick. I don't know. That's my soapbox. That's my soapbox.
That's good. That was just an open-ended question. So
I think a good part of like how to get out of it depends on what your hobby is. I know with me, like I love doing outdoor things. And usually I like being with people. And so although it is on me, and I 100% agree with that, I feel like sometimes hanging out with people just by itself, just forcing yourself to go out and be with them will help you get over it.
Just
eventually.
people, like people of the same gender, even just, just you're making friends, not trying to replace or anything.
Yeah. So I think that although it does need to come within you, that within you initiating could just be going out and hanging out with friends.
So that actually leads to another question. Like, what about like a solid rebound? Like, what are thoughts on that? Like, as you, or maybe that's the wrong term, but what's the time, or how do you know when it's right to start dating again, or to even think about that or move on? What do you do?
I feel like it's a little bit unhealthy to like just want to replace your significant other, or like, someone you're dating, as quickly as you can, just to fill that hole. Cause like at that point, I feel like you're not really going to find someone that's going to share your values, or, be as good of a match, if you want to say something like that. So
I was just going to say, just do something, just kind of bringing back that phrase. Cause whether it's I don't know if I agree with the term a solid rebound, because that can be kind of hurtful for whoever you're with. But the more people that you spend time with, the more people that you go out with, the more you're going to realize what type of person you want to spend your time with, if that's in like a relationship. So if you go and you get out of a breakup, give yourself some healthy time to heal. But when you do feel ready, or even if you don't feel quite ready, push yourself a little bit and start getting back out there, because you will eventually realize, okay, this is an awesome person. Like there are still people out there that I can spend time with. Or maybe you won't, and you'll realize, okay, well, maybe it's worth reaching out again to whoever this is, because I've tried earnestly to find somebody, or like tried earnestly to get to know people, and there's no one else like this specific person. But it gives yourself, it's almost like an experiment. You are testing other subjects, trying to figure out what's going to work best in your situation, and you may or may not find somebody. So I
like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I like how Mark was saying, like, go out and date multiple people instead of just like finding one person and like starting a relationship super quickly, kind of as that rebound. But I think that was a great point of just trying to meet as many people as you can.
So
I was just going to say, when you find the right person, like you'll feel it, because there's the same type of energy coming from both people. You'll be able to feel it for sure.
I'll feel that one day.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool.
Henry and I can relate.
So, okay. So what would be the difference between enduring a breakup and active recovery? Like, what actions have helped you in active recovery through a breakup versus just like getting through it?
Talking about it and kind of getting it off your chest to like your close friends, and then letting it go and not talking about it after that can be helpful, just so you can kind of like clear your system and kind of get it off your mind if you kind of like verbalize how you're feeling and then let it go.
I like that. I was going to kind of add on that, like if you need to talk about it for sure, but then do what we've already been saying, filling it with healthy habits. So going to the gym or learning a new hobby or skill, something like that, that fills your time with positive things. And then actively trying to, for me, what worked best was actively trying to pursue other dates and just getting myself out there to build new friendships. That's kind of what worked the best for me.
That comes back to do something.
Do something.
Like just go do, especially like it's hard to feel sorry for yourself and just miss that person when you're out interacting with others and serving in particular. Like if you're out like helping other people through issues, pretty quickly you'll forget about yourself, and that's a phenomenal feeling. But
for me, I actually don't think I have all that good of like how to not just endure throughout a breakup. I think that it still drives me nuts when you said this, Livia, but Mark came into the room and he was just excited because he just went on an awesome date and whatnot. And I was kind of feeling crappy because I couldn't get a date that semester. And I just got a upsetty spaghetti and went into my room. And I just look back and I think about how much I've grown. And so I think a lot of our listeners shouldn't focus on what they've done in the past. I think they should focus on what they can do in the future. That's just been a big point of mine. From 2 years ago to now, I've grown so much, and my tools for dealing with a breakup are 10 times better now because I've understood who I am more. So I think that's something that we should all do as our tools, just learn who we are.
That's phenomenal. I like that. Like, especially just the point of like, these things we're talking about, like we're talking about them because we're struggling with them and because we've gone through them or are going through them or want to get through them. Like we're not talking about anything that we think we have the answers to, and we're trying to help each other find the answers. And I would totally agree. Like, I'm not the same person, even close, that I was 2 years ago. And Alan's not the same person. So the more you see who you are, the more progress you can make, but give yourself grace as you grow.
Well, that's all because you've experienced things now. If you don't experience things in life, like going through a breakup or just trying to get dates, whatever it may be, you're never going to know your reaction and response to whatever that situation is going to be. So if you just put yourself out there, you do something, you keep trying, then you will progress, and your experience and your reactions will change over time because of all those things that you have tried and done in your life.
Hey, this is just a side note, but like, it's good to see all three of you. Like, it's been way too long since we've recorded. Just like listening to everyone, just like, oh, I missed it. So glad we're all back.
Hey, Livia, do you remember when Mark was going through his breakup? And
yes,
which one?
Obviously, we all do. the vibe of that room.
The whole vibe was just grind time, baby.
So, but there was a time where you were reading off what to do or what to say when a friend is going through a breakup. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, like WikiHow.
It was 4 or 8 things, and I come in and I have no clue what to say. And I just did exactly what WikiHow said not to do.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
It's like, don't compare yourselves or something like that.
Yeah, like,
it was the funniest thing. I was like, I feel like crap right now. Like,
yeah, I'll find it. It's quality.
The WikiHow is just a funny way to figure out what to do when you have no clue what you're doing, especially for us young adults. And it was just talking about how you should be there and make sure you're listening, but don't put too much input in, but give them some input. And I had no clue what I was saying.
Alan just comes in. He's like, talks about his exes and stuff. Dude. I have it.
Not my best moment. What are they?
All right. So spend time with your friend. Don't let them suffer alone. Be trustworthy. Plan fun activities. Allow them to progress through their emotions. Be patient. Don't relate it back to you. Develop a plan. It's pretty quality stuff, but basically awesome. just be there. Just try to help, but just listen, I guess.
Be there. Yeah. I remember that too. looking back, it's kind of funny, but at the time I'm like, thanks, Alan.
Screw you.
Sorry.
It's funny. It's all good things.
So just to wrap it up, we've been talking about this a little bit, but just maybe our final question: how do you keep motivation to date when you know, I guess when you keep having breakups or like no progress in dating? Have you guys, what would you guys do to try and keep trying?
So currently I am in Utah and I'm coming back up to Rexburg, Idaho
Here we go.
tonight. And I'm just going to be very open. I came down. Oh, my mom's going to kill me because she doesn't know any of this. Frick. So I came down to hang out with my old roommate, or our old roommate, Daniel. Super awesome guy.
Shout out to Dan.
What up,
Seriously,
Dan?
huge shout out. Dude is awesome. He graduated, so he's living down here in Utah. I came down for him, but I also am kind of talking to a girl who the relationship is not going to work out. So this is a very ongoing topic for me.
Like happened yesterday.
Like happened
Very fresh.
Yesterday, technically this morning. But yeah. So
Yeah.
the best motivation would just be to know your worth. Lavere and I have talked about this a lot. It's knowing how much value your life has for other people. If you know that, you'll understand that maybe she didn't understand your worth. That's not your fault. Your purpose is to help other people out. And if he or she can't see that, you just better make sure that you understand that yourself. So that's what's going to push me to start dating again, as I go through this relationship that's obviously not going to work out. So,
yeah, I would just say, just have it always in mind that the right person will love you for who you are. So if they don't, then they're not the right person. So don't stick around with that type of person. You don't need to.
Yeah, I would say for me, like I need to chill out with dating sometimes. Like I get so stressed about dating because it's like the one thing I can't control right now.
facts.
Like I
Big
just
facts.
need to relax, right? And so I think just realizing, like, going through breakup, like you have the capability of living a very happy life and just being very happy, like without anyone. And like if you can be alone and be happy, and like be alone as in just be content by yourself, like your life will be perfect. And so, I mean, it'll be pretty freaking good. And so for me, like, I guess as I don't really feel the pain of my last breakup. Like, I don't really feel like I miss her. I feel like my life is pretty great. And since the breakup, like I've made improvements and changes that have been like huge. And so now I'm at this point where like my life is pretty great. And so something I want to work on is just be happy that my life is great as I date, and just let it happen. Like if dating happens, cool. If not, I'm just going to keep breathing, keep meditating, keep doing everything I know that works, and it'll come when it comes. But that's my 1 cent.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I think that was some really great closing comments. And so I think we'll wrap up today's episode on dating. Hopefully it can help us and, our listeners. So
If not, hopefully it was just entertaining.
Yep. So we just want to thank everyone for listening, and just remember to follow us on our different platforms, and keep listening. So
yeah, and we wanted to throw a huge shout out. There's a list of a lot of people. I think I'm looking at like just a ton of responses that we put out. We put out a questionnaire just for just so we could get some data to see like what you guys like to hear about or what upcoming topics are. And so many people took the questionnaire and really helped us just see how we can keep improving and make it a better podcast. So we wanted to thank you. There are a ton of specific people, but maybe we can just read a list of names if that's cool.
Go for it.
If I can find my list of names real quick.
And if you haven't taken the questionnaire yet, go look it up. I think it's linked on our Instagram page, right?
Not yet. We're getting there, but we will keep posting, and as people keep following us, that's super helpful. But
if you see the questionnaire or whatever, take it. It'll be super helpful. Yeah,
for sure. So our good friend Kat Morrison took it. She's just an awesome person. There are so many awesome people that took this. Cade, Trevor, my whole family, of course. So Denton, Rebecca, Miriam, Amber, all of them. Actually, I don't think Amber took it. So yikes. But there are a whole bunch of people. Isabella took it. Marilee, like Natalie, like Victoria, just a whole bunch of people took it, and Alma, and they were super, super helpful responses and kind of gives us an agenda of what to take, how to take this podcast. There's like one more that I want to look up. We do have one listener that has been super, super positive. Like there are times when we record and we get feedback and it like makes it worth it, right? Like sometimes we're here and we're like, like, is this podcast worth it? Like, are people listening? Do people care? But the other day, one of our listeners sent us a message of just how much this has helped her in her life. And it was so positive. So it's Mari. She's been just super helpful. And so she took our thing and has been
you guys rock.
Great support. So anyway, we appreciate our fans. If this has been helpful, please let us know. We're grateful for it. So
yeah. So again, thanks for listening. And just as a kind of a preview, we will have another episode coming out on dating and creating a strong, positive relationship as you're steady dating. So that'll be coming up in the near future as well. So again, thanks for listening, and we hope to catch you guys next time.
Deuces.